So learn how Senior Marketing Manager Josh Roloff, Director of Outbound Marketing Strategy at Audible, Rich Allen Page, and Movable Inc.'s very own Client Experience Manager, Leah Gelblatt, are mastering their tech stacks for massive results. Please welcome Josh, Rich, and Leah.
Thanks, everyone. Welcome. So before getting started, a quick introduction. My name is, I have to figure out where the button is. My name is Leah Gelblatt. I'm a director here at Movable Inc., and I've been here for 8.5 years. And I have a really cool and unique opportunity to oversee the team that manages all of our Amazon accounts. So that puts me in a really cool space that I get to see what's going on across kind of the broader org. And there's some really cool stuff being done. And we have two folks here who have really been leaning in and really excited to share some of the stuff that they've worked on as it relates to email and also omnichannel. So let's jump in. Okay, first, Rich, I would love for you to introduce yourself, share your role, a little bit about how long you've been working with Movable Inc. Fun fact, we've been working together for quite some time here. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Rich Allen Page. I have been at Audible for 8 years this month. I'm on a newly formed MarTech org within Audible, where it brings together the expertise of marketers, product managers, and engineers with shared goals and shared ownership. I've been working with Movable Inc. since 2012, so it's been quite some time. So at Audible, my daughter will tell you that I am the one who writes books, makes books, records books. I haven't broke it to her that I don't do this. And every night when she listens, she will come and tell me parts of a book she didn't like and ask me to change them. So we haven't mastered that part yet. But essentially what I do is making sure that marketers have everything they need to do what they want. So I own channel strategy from a high-level perspective, how many messages customers get, ensuring a proper channel mix, et cetera, and then working with these marketers to make sure that they're only constrained with what their mind can create in terms of campaigns. So this is actually up here a great example where on the left is when I started at Audible, what our year-end summary looked like. This was just like a hard-coded live text HTML email. You can see there that there are 5 data points. We had a great developer on our team who had to figure out how to insert little bits of confetti at certain parts of the email to make it not just look like it's one giant piece of HTML. To 2021, we launched our first global year-end summary campaign. Globally, this was across all 11 marketplaces that Audible operates in, and little baby steps there. We added in Rich Push after that, and then eventually last year did a full in-app experience. So we've kind of mastered the omni-channel experience with using Movable and kind of integrating that into all of the marketing touchpoints that we have.
Awesome, thanks for running through that. And fun fact, I think Rich and I have worked together for 7 years now with our evolution of Movable Inc. So really exciting. And then also, Josh, I would love for you to introduce yourself. And I know that you haven't had as many years, but you have some really great stuff to show off also.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm Josh Roloff. I'm a senior product marketing manager for Amazon Pickup. So Amazon Pickup is convenient locations for people to pick up their packages when and where they want. So if you're not going to be at home and you're expecting something and you want to make sure it's there, you can go to a pickup location. If you're like me who live in a New York City apartment without a doorman, and you're at work all day or speaking at Think Summit and you need a spot to get your package delivered so that way you actually know it's there when you get home, that's what pickup is for. And also when you're traveling, we have locations worldwide. And so it really makes it easy to get your packages when and where you want. And we have 2 different products. We have locker and counter. So we have lockers, for example, at 7-Eleven stores and Amazon counters at Whole Foods Market and other partners like Staples. And so, yeah, you can see here kind of the evolution of our emails before and after Movable Inc. We've been working with Movable Inc. for 4 years. And so before it was really about just the whole tell them about what pickup is and then send them to the website and then they can search for the list of locations throughout the website. And Movable Inc. really helped us kind of unlock emails and make it more personalized for the customer instead of just saying hey, putting that work on the customer and saying go do this work. Instead, we're with Movable Ink, we can pull in those nearby pickup locations near that particular customer into our emails, and it just makes it more personalized and also just easy for customers to find their pickup location and less work that they have to do.
Awesome, thanks, Josh. And I learned that recently, the idea of picking up at a locker when you're on vacation, because I went to Europe and I was like, I do not want to carry a dress. So that was a very beneficial tip right there. So,
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so now that we know a little bit about both of you, why did that, there we go. Oh, there we go. I'm new at this. I would love to learn a little bit about some priorities. So Rich, would love to start with you. So what would you consider your highest priority when thinking about ways that you are enabling your tech teams to be better integrated, especially with first-party and third-party systems?
Yeah, so what I'm focused on in my role, again, is making things as easy as possible for the marketers who might have little technical knowledge. So setting things up in a way that enables self-service. So when I am working with our tech teams and in my role, I don't want marketers to have to figure out where is data? How do I find the data I need for my campaign? How do I get a component that I can use in an email or for push notifications? So I really strive to make sure that our tools allow people to do what they want in a way that they want to do it, and then also making our processes that we have at Audible as easy as possible for them to do it. So the added benefit of this now is I'm sure everyone has these AI goals, et cetera. So as you're going through and making sure that all this data is available, all these components are available, extreme documentation, it's really also setting them up for the future where they'll be able to do things by themselves. And then also like a little plug that Movable did not pay me to say is just they have these tactics workshops tomorrow that if you want to learn how to like really set things up for like marketers to just take things and run, or like people on your team, if you have a really small team, you're really able to set them up in ways that works for you and your business. And then it's so easy to just repeat and use these across channels.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh, would love to learn a little bit from your point of view as well.
Yeah, so Movable Ink really helps us like get the right message to the right customer at the right time. And so Amazon's all about being customer obsessed. And the way we do that is we want to make sure that when they receive a communication from us, it's something they actually want to be receiving. And so I think part of that is just like, it's with the content that we're showing them, and that's where Movable Ink comes in, and we can pull in those nearby pickup locations. And again, it's like less work that's on the customer instead of we're saying like, oh, click here and then enter your address and all of this. Like being able to pull that in directly to the email helps a lot. And I think it helps our team as well build and kind of scale our communications worldwide, because we do operate pickup locations worldwide. And so, I think a lot of times our team's focus is less on building like flashy emails and more about like figuring out how Movable Ink can help us scale and get something that is going to make the customer's life easier, even if it's not like super flashy, but also help us as marketers really save us time and help us take something that we can insert into multiple campaigns across multiple countries, and it's still giving that customer a unique personal experience.
Awesome. And Josh, while we're on that, I would love to learn a little bit about how you scale these priorities and kind of what process improvements you've been seeing.
Yeah, so we do send these campaigns in several countries. We've actually launched Movable Ink across 10 different countries. And so with that, there are a lot of like nuances, and so it's things like translations. We pull in location info, so address formats are different for countries, like postal codes are different, and so those are all like nuances. And so getting this all built out like was a huge deal for us, because it was a lot of like setup work. But now that we have it, the great thing about Movable Ink is that you can take those creative tags and like insert them into any of your campaigns. So it really helps us, take, like the creative tags themselves are evergreen, but then we can plug that into big tentpole event emails, whether it's Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and really make it like seasonal for the customer, but at the same time, like on the back end, the work that we're doing was like that one-time setup, and we can just keep repurposing those creative tags. And so we have two use cases here. We have like our location selector API, which automatically pulls in 3 nearby locations into the email along with a map of that, and then the customer can automatically click on one of those locations and it'll save it to their address book so that the next time they place an order on Amazon, that pickup location is there waiting for them. And then we also have a new pickup location email that we recently launched, which surfaces the nearest location, like the newest location that opened near you. And so a lot of times it's like, a customer might be using pickup already, but they're like, we're like, hey, we have an even better, even more close and convenient location to you. Check it out. And before it would just be like, hey, go to our website and scroll through this list of locations. And now it's very much like in the email itself. And customers are really reacting positively to this. Like just including like these locations within the email led to up to a 528 bips improvement in opt-out to click rate and up to a 14 bips lift in CTR. And so this really shows that like this is resonating with customers and like versus like not having the movable ink and pulling that location in. So this really like gives us the data that we need to show that like, hey, this is working and we need to continue to scale it.
Awesome, thanks. Rich, I would love to learn from your POV as well.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of scaling in 2 different ways. So a big focus for us has been kind of building once and deploying globally. Audible operates in 11 different marketplaces, and that's been a huge tenet for us to be able to enable this. So we have campaigns like this where we can create evergreen tactics that can be used by different teams across our marketing org, where you don't need to do anything. So you have like this credit banner up top, which just uses data that we have already set up to decide what are we going to show this customer. On the right-hand side, you have this monthly deals banner, which again is completely automated. A marketer needs to do nothing. It is pulling these titles directly from our website. You can see that there's a little disclaimer under it that just says these are available till June 30th, which is just pulling in what is the current month and what's the last day of the month. So we have these pieces of creative that we don't need to go and make requests to get created for us, that if someone knows they want to feature monthly deals, they can do that. These listening stats down here. So we've really just created things that existed individually, and then this is actually pulled from a single email where someone in our marketing team had the idea of, we have all of these pieces, why not just put them all together? And that's kind of where we came to with this. So these are still available where it's just like, I need this. We've already built it. We've componentized it. There's nothing that someone needs to do to enable this. So just creating this library of evergreen components and creatives that a marketer can just take and basically setting them up to move a lot quicker.
We love a case of work harder. I mean, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was going to come around the other way. Perfect. So now that we've kind of declared what we do in email, would love to understand a little bit of how we do this in an omni-channel, because I know that could be a little bit tricky. So Josh, can you give us a little bit of tidbits of what you're thinking for outside of email?
Absolutely. So yeah, we've been using Movable Ink for email for 4 years now, and we're starting to test into rich push notifications. And a lot of the components that we built out and all the data that's flowing into Movable Ink we can repurpose. But I think the challenge is finding something that's like mobile optimized. You can't. I feel like email, you get a lot of flexibility. Like you have so much real estate, and you can have emails that scroll for miles, even though that's not necessarily best practice, but that's something that you have that flexibility, whereas push, it's like you have this very limited real estate and they are seeing it on a really small device. And so something that we've been doing is we're about to launch this summer our first push notifications using the location nearby location component that we had. So we basically rebuilt our creative from the ground up to make it mobile optimized and customer friendly. And we have that same thing where we're showing customers, hey, you have these nearby pickup locations near you. There's one in your postal code. Here's your nearest location, instead of showing like a list of 3 locations on a really teeny tiny device. And so we're really excited to see how this does, because it's done really well in email. So push is like the next logical step for us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited about that. Perfect. So next, Rich, I know that you are in a little bit of a unique position in the fact that you've kind of done a little bit of everything with Movable Ink, with some leading industry, like we saw from the beginning of your year in review, that Rich started from the very beginning of HTML all the way to in-app. So I'd love to learn a little bit in reflection. What information would you want us to know as it related to how you scaled omnichannel?
Yeah, so essentially what we did here, and I'll keep this one quick for mobile, is just we found out what customers liked and gave it to them everywhere we could. So with our year-end summary, we noticed that people really resonated with a lot of the data visualizations we were doing. We built it from an email with year-end summary to a whole stats week where we teased people with like what was going to come in their full summary, and then used this to kind of expand to a regular monthly send that we have, where this is taking a bunch of different data points, like your listening throughout the month, and also looks at your listening last month, benchmarks them against each other to tell a customer that you're either already exceeding what you've listened previously, or you need to listen a little bit more to get to that place where we're just able, again, this is something that we've kind of already done, and just leveraging what we've done before to expand on the use cases.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So in our last few minutes we have together, I would like for this clicker to work. Both of you have really big ideas, right? And we all know that that does not happen overnight in regards to the being able to support and get those initiatives up and running. So I would love to understand a little bit of how you both have kind of went through internal obstacles to be able to make the case for, how you've been able to achieve these really great successes and continued.
Yeah, so I think one benefit with using Movable Ink is there are different ways to get your data into Movable Ink, and that's been really helpful for us. And so initially we started with an API actually that pulls in those 3 nearest locations. But then what I think we've realized over time is that we've been experimenting with the other methods Movable Ink has to pull in our data. And one of those is with the dynamic variables, like the merge tags. And what's great about that is it lets us test way faster, because what we'll do is if we say okay, our API pulls in this data, but then we're okay, we want to test pulling in this and this and this. It's we can be scrappier by using the merge tags to pull that into Movable Ink. We can test it, get the data that we need to show that this use case either works or doesn't work, and then long-term prioritize that work to get added to our API as another data point. And so I think that's the great thing about Movable Ink, is it really allows us to be flexible, and because we have those different methods of getting the data into Movable Ink, we can test and then build that use case to go back to our leadership and our tech team and say hey, we've tested this, we were scrappy about it, it works, here's the data to back this up, we need these resources prioritized to expand this more and scale it for the future. And I think that's it's great that Movable Ink offers that, because it really lets us be flexible. And so, yeah, that's what we're really happy about with our experience.
Yeah, awesome. Rich, you want to round us out?
Yeah, so everything that Josh said is kind of how we approach this as well. And my advice is just have a plan. What do you do if you get nothing that you ask for? You cannot just stop doing your job. So what do you get if you get what do you do if you get some of what you ask for? So it's not just planning for what this best case scenario is, it's what is every step along the way. So you need to show your leadership, your teams, how can you create value with nothing? And that's kind of how we did this at Audible as well. When we started, I had no tech resources to do anything that I have done, to now we have a lot more resources who have seen the power of what we're able to do. So it's really about creating that value with nothing, and then creating that use case. So it's look what we did, you didn't give us any resources. Here's where we can go from there, and kind of layer that out in baby steps. For the most part, again, you're not just gonna be able to show up to your tech teams, give them a list of, I need these 6 APIs, I wanna be able to do all of these things. It's not realistic. So we just take it into the little chunks that we can, where you can do that. And then one of the things too, I guess if you're at a bigger organization, this is easier, but kind of find the person who's doing the coolest thing or the thing that's the most important, and just kind of hitch onto them. So find someone who is gonna get everything that they ask for, because I'm sure there is one project or product at everyone's company that it's like, this is happening before the end of the year, go and convince that person why you getting an API for Movable Ink or why you getting these resources to be able to do this is going to be extremely beneficial to what they do. And then you too can share in a little bit of that, and like you can use that selfishly while also at the same time helping them further their goals.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you both so much. I believe we're just on time. And thank you all. If you have questions, find them.